I'm sure that people are going to expect. Oh, I can't wait for Shannon's review. Yeah, I don't get emotional when a team loses a game that they rightfully should have lost. And I had this score written up in the double overtime before the goal went in because I thought, yeah, there this it felt to me like Boston was tempting fate most of the night, and Columbus was refusing to go down 2 games to nothing going home. I think they understood if they lost and they went down 2 games to nothing that this was pretty much done. So Columbus tonight gets back home ice advantage, and this is the 13th overtime game. So if you're going, wow, that game seemed kind of late, that's because it started late. It started an hour later than normal. The crowd was into it. It was a fun crowd. The first thing of note on this, Alexander Wenberg's in the lineup and Dzingle's out. And Wenberg played really solid hockey. Now, he didn't take some shots where you would prefer a guy to take shots, and that's kind of part of what he's known for. But he had a very good game, and I thought he was part of the reason that Columbus comes out with some momentum out of this game. I like their chances in Game 3. We'll see what happens. Momentum really hasn't spilled over in these playoffs, but we'll see if it does in this series. Now, it was very physical to start the game. A lot of hits being thrown back and forth. And unlike Toronto, Columbus is absolutely willing to play that game. And they are, I think they play a heavier game than the Bruins. I think that it plays right into their wheelhouse if the Bruins are trying to throw the body around. I mean, Chara can do it, but other than that, in terms of really big, burly guys, yeah, Boston doesn't really have a whole lot. It is not a game that they really want to get into. I don't think against a Columbus team where I thought Nick Foligno had a great game as well. Nick Foligno probably should have had a goal in this game, just was kind of snake bit in the opportunities he had. So the first thing you notice in this game isn't just the physical, it's that there's not a lot of shots getting taken. 7:37 into the first, Boston gets its first shot, which makes the shots one apiece. But not long after, the Bruins get a power play. Matt Grzelcyk gets a goal from McAvoy and Krejci, and it's 1-0 for Boston. So Columbus down 1-0. No panic, however. I noticed it was cross-check after cross-check after cross-check in that first period. And then at the end of the first, Bjorkstrand and Krug paired off like they were going to fight, and linesman gets in to make sure it doesn't happen. I was thinking, how does this happen? How did these two guys of all people pair off? But that was at the end of the first period. Columbus outshot Boston 9-6, but Boston led where it mattered on the board. But Columbus didn't get frustrated by this. Columbus continued to play very physical. They choked off the center of the ice quite a bit. Both teams were doing it. Both teams were trying to choke off the center of the ice. And I think Columbus did a better job than Boston. Now, in the second period, Panarin scores from Jones and Atkinson. So, big goal for Panarin. And, in all honesty, that was huge for them. But 58 seconds later, Pasta gets a goal that deflects off his skate. Coyle goes behind the net. It's one of those fluke goals. Johansson with the other assist. That's only 58 seconds later. And so it feels like Boston's ahead 2-1 in a game they probably aren't playing as well as the team they're against, but you know what? They're ahead, so we'll see what they can do. And then Chara takes a tripping penalty. So, and it was a dumb penalty by Chara. It was just, there were a number of penalties by the Bruins. I understand there were only 3 power plays for Columbus, but when Boston took a penalty in this game, I thought it was really obvious. The referee in this game, as far as I could tell, really wanted to just let them play. That's the term, right? Let them play. And the ones that he called, he could not avoid calling them. And then there's a high stick on the Blue Jackets pretty soon after that, which was a 4-minute. Now, the interesting thing with that 4-minute power play is they put Dubois in the box. They then go on the headset, found out Dubois wasn't the one that did it, so they put the actual assailant in the box instead, which will leave people to say, wait a minute, if they can talk on a headset to whoever's looking at that, whether it's Toronto or whoever, and they can decide on who should and shouldn't be in the box, what's the difference between that and deciding whether there was or wasn't a penalty? And that's what's going to get asked a lot for the rest of the playoffs. Panarin then scores from Jones, and what was really impressive about this, first off, beautiful assist to Charlie Coyle. You got the puck in your own zone, you don't throw it into the middle of the ice like that. It was beautifully laid up for Seth Jones, who passes it off to Panarin, and Panarin roofs it where Rask couldn't get it. And, you know, Coyle's had a fantastic playoff. That was a boneheaded move. But what was really nice about that for Columbus was that's when the play was still technically 4-on-4. Chara's still in the box, so they don't have a power play yet for that high sticking. And then when they did, the Jackets killed it off. So the Jackets, in my opinion, had the momentum going into the third period. Not only that, but they had the shots lead as well. 10-7 through 2, so it was 19-13 were the shots in favor of Columbus through 2 periods. And I really thought they were the better team. Now in the third, it is a tight period of hockey. There wasn't a whole lot of shots. But what was really driving me nuts in the third period, and I a couple of times said out loud to the TV, shoot it. I felt the Bruins were overpassing it on their power play. And I felt that just in general, there were a lot of occasions where they could have taken a shot, but they were looking for the perfect shot, and they'd pass it off. And it felt like, you guys are blowing it. And then with 16.8 seconds left, Nick Foligno comes in. Really nice shot. Fantastic save by Tuukka Rask. Rask was on it tonight. So was Bob, though. So if Columbus fans are going to say, hey, he's not talking about Bobrovsky, we're getting there. So we go into overtime, and my heart sinks a little bit because I know where this is going. And it felt to me throughout this game that Columbus really wanted it, and that Boston got kind of lazy in certain situations. There was a weird bounce, however, at 6:25 of that first overtime that almost eluded Bobrovsky, and if that puck had gone in, it would have got the same play as Salo with one, Tommy Salo, with a goal that went in that was bonkers bad, and the Cloutier goal from center ice. Like, it just, because it would have looked bad. It just would have looked awful. But the truth is that he does stop it, so it takes a weird bounce to the left, and he almost missed it. He got it. And then McAvoy takes a penalty. And it was not a great penalty on McAvoy. And it was legit. There was nothing about that. I couldn't say, oh, McAvoy shouldn't get a penalty. Yeah, he should. And then Bobrovsky robbed Bergeron. Multiple times, Patrice Bergeron should have had a goal, and Bobrovsky robs him. And they were fantastic saves. Bobrovsky is having the best playoffs, obviously, that he's ever had. And I even put up here more robbery by Bobrovsky. But at the end of the first overtime, the shots are 10-10. Third period, the shots were 8-7 Boston. So this game's opening up. And I thought, this isn't going to last very long into the second overtime. And Boston's playing some sloppy hockey. It's not just the overpassing, it was some bad passing. Not just Coyle. There were other passes too where I thought, and that's going where? There's only white jerseys there? Not sure where else you're putting that. And in the second overtime, man, does Columbus come out and do a great job of making sure Boston doesn't get a whiff of their net. Doesn't get anywhere near it. Bergeron then takes a really stupid tripping penalty on Jones. Now, did Jones go down easily? Probably. Yeah, that's probably fair that Jones goes down kind of easy. But was it a trip? Absolutely. It was a trip, and on a play like that, you have to call the penalty, because if Bergeron trips Jones and gets the puck and puts it in the net, right? So as soon as Jones goes down, the arm goes up, Bergeron's in the box. And they're not going to fail in the power play twice in overtime. Again, the referee really didn't want to call anything. He wanted to let it go and let the guys decide. But, Bergeron of all people. And Patrice Bergeron, I have, to my knowledge, never said a negative word about anything he's done in a hockey game. But that's something he would love to have back. He is not going to be happy with himself over that play. Duchesne scores from Panarin and Atkinson. So it's 3 minutes and 42 seconds into the second overtime. If you're keeping track of overall overtime, that's 23 minutes and 42 seconds of overtime. Boston has played a ton of hockey. And we're starting to see, I think, with Columbus working the body as much as they are, I think Columbus is doing a good job of wearing down the Bruins right now. The shots were 5-0 Columbus in that double overtime. And yeah, like I said, Boston never really got anything going in it. 3 minutes in, Duchesne roofs it, and did he roof it? Anyway, it doesn't matter. It was. As soon as it's done, I get all this on the board and I start up the video for you guys. So Duchesne from Panarin and Atkinson. It was beautiful passing on the power play, which I didn't see from Boston as much when they were on theirs. And I don't fault Rask on that one at all. That was a good goal. Bobrovsky saves 29 out of 31. He was not the busier goaltender. I would say, if you're going to have to say which goaltender's better, I would give a slight edge to Bobrovsky, but not by much. Rask certainly stole the show a little bit from Columbus as well. 38 saves on 41 shots for him. It's a 1-1 series tie now. This series is going to Columbus. Now what Columbus needs to do, win games 3 and game 4. And you've got yourself another upset in the making. The Blue Jackets, 5 wins in the playoffs now. We've never been here before. We can try to compare to past histories, but Columbus really doesn't have one. They were always out in the first round. This is all brand new ground. And I think coming out of tonight, I think the momentum is with them. But we'll see, right? Because, again, like I said, momentum doesn't seem to be carrying over in these playoffs at all. It's a 6-0 win for one team one night, and then a couple nights later it goes the other way. So we'll see. But Boston's going to have their work cut out for them in the next game. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, as always. I will say this as well, and I need to make sure that this is clear throughout this series. I like the Jackets. Should they knock out the Bruins, I will have no hard feelings over the Blue Jackets knocking out the Bruins, which is saying something. And, honestly, they're playing some really, really solid hockey. So, great coaching by Tortorella. All 4 lines playing well, all 6 defensemen buying in. Kukan was kind of a little shaky on some plays tonight, but that's just splitting hairs. The Jackets played well. The Bruins played well as well, but it does feel like they let one get away tonight. Double overtime at home, and they lose it. So we'll see if that hurts them going forward. But hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.